Hey, what's up, y'all? Coach Ross here, Reactive Training Systems. Unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably seen the epic debates and battles on the internet in the past couple of years at team motivation versus team discipline. Which one will be the victor? Well, I'm here today to put that to rest. We need to have one champion come out on top. No, actually, that's not what I'm here for today. I want to talk about the dichotomy of them, because when we can learn what each of them are, and how each of them can serve us, we can move forward a lot more powerfully. One is not necessarily better than the other. They're two different things, and learning what the differences are so we can channel which one we need in which moment, or using both of them, that's really important. So that's what I want to do today. I'm not here to argue and here to battle. There's a place for both. I think a really important place to start to be able to pull this apart and see where they are is just look at the basic definitions. So let's start with the definition of motivation and look at the one from Merriam-Webster Dictionary. When I looked that up, it was first an act or process of motivating. Well, that's not very clear. The second one was the condition of being motivated. Again, it's not very clear to me. And the third one was a motivating force or stimulus or influence. Again, I'm not very clear on what motivation is then from that definition from Merriam-Webster. So I wanted to go a little further with it and looked at what Wikipedia had to say. Wikipedia talks about it as an internal state of being that propels people towards goal-oriented behavior. That tells me a lot more. And the key takeaway that I want to point out to you on that before we move on is it's an internal state of being. It's an emotion. That is really important. That's the key takeaway, in my opinion, on what motivation is. Let's check out the definition to discipline. Merriam-Webster talks about discipline as being an orderly or prescribed action or behavior. It's a pattern. It is also a rule system that propels and is the guidelines for behavior and behavioral processes. It is to train instructually, like behavior and self-control. Now let's check out the Wikipedia definition. So we have multiple comparisons here. Wikipedia talks about it as the self-control that a person or people gain by following a set of rules and obeying a set of rules that guides them towards a specific goal or behavior, particularly to keep them working towards that when something is difficult. The key takeaway here to me is that it's a pattern or behavior. It's the rules that govern that pattern or behavior. What are they? Well, it depends on what you're working towards. What is the goal? What is the thing that you're working towards? And powerlifting, obviously, one of the big things that we're working towards is a higher total. So what are the things, what are the behaviors that propel us towards that? Now, again, there's key takeaways here. Motivation being an internal state of being, an emotion, whereas discipline is like this construct of rules that guide our behavior when things are difficult and towards that thing that we're working on. And again, what I think is important is to learn to understand the nuanced differences in the dichotomy that exists between motivation and discipline, so that we can learn how to pull from each one based on the situation, based on how the training is going, based on the environment, based on the situation. Is it training or is it a competition? Different things of that nature. One of the ways to look at this is, again, motivation is that emotion. It's the energy. We can often use energy to create change when we're stuck in a discipline, in a behavior. Okay, so in training, if we are always disciplined towards behaving in a certain manner, let's say overreaching, while that might be a discipline that's straying away from the program, it's still a pattern, it's still a behavior. We're still operating in that disciplined way. And we recognize that that is not serving us. And we need the motivation to change the discipline, to change the set of rules that's guiding us towards the thing. So you can use motivation to create discipline and discipline to fuel motivation, and back and forth. We need both. We need that set of rules. We need that discipline to pursue us towards the goal. We need the motivation to help us change the discipline when we need to change the discipline. We need to be able to understand when the discipline is too rigid and there needs to be some flexibility brought into the system. Maybe we need to learn to auto-regulate. We need to learn to be more in tune with our RP. If we go into a training session, we're super motivated for that by 1 at 8. Oh man, I want to get after. I'm ready to PR. I'm ready to PR. Cool, that's great to bring that energy for the training, but now we also need the discipline to bring that back in alignment with the training program so that that by 1 at 8 doesn't turn into that by 1 at 10. We don't want to send it at that point. So we need both of them to varying degrees, depending on, again, on the situation and the context and what we're trying to do, where we're at in the training journey. We need motivation to help us create the discipline. And we need discipline to help us get through those times when motivation is low. Like we can't just turn one off and rely solely on the other. It doesn't work that way. When we learn how to use both of them and dual yield those swords, like, you're way more equipped for the battle. You're way more equipped to pursue that strength when you have both tools at your disposal. And that is going to be the thing that really propels you towards those PRs, towards that main goal of building that tool. So I hope that you can learn how to benefit both for you and your journey, because there's going to be some nuanced differences for each of us. It's going to be a little different for me than it is for you. I might need a little more discipline. You might need a little more motivation. That's okay. It's about learning where that dichotomy is and pulling from it where you need it. So I hope that you're able to dual yield motivation and discipline as you pursue your next PRs. Thanks for joining me. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We'll see y'all in the next one.